This is the World Financial Report on Radio with Harold Siegel. My name is Randy Marshall. Joining us via the telephone, our financial expert, Harold Siegel. We're taping the show on April 21st, 2011 at 8:42 in the morning Mountain Time, 10:42 Eastern Time. Our radio show runs on 630 CHED in Edmonton. Also, AM 640 in Toronto. If you ever miss a show, go to Harold's website, HESradio.com, HESradio.com. You can listen to archive shows there. What an amazing week it was for precious metals. Gold over $1,500, silver $46. And the truth is, Harold, for people that have been listening to us for 9-10 years, they obviously know that we've been bullish on gold and silver for a long time, so this is no surprise to them. But I think the surprise for a lot of people that have just been joining us lately, the price appreciation. But when you take a look at the situation, silver was always mispriced in relation to gold, even platinum and palladium. It's catching up, and obviously we had the situation in the past where there was manipulation, and the CFTC, Bart Chilton, came out and talked about it last year. We had quantitative easing, geopolitical trouble, continued financial trouble. We're seeing inflation. Silver has a long run ahead of it. Even if it went to $100, it would still be cheap in relation to gold, silver, platinum, or rather gold and platinum and palladium.
You bet, Randy. Again, it's an amazing metal. In fact, if you look at the beginning of the year, gold was at $14.50 and silver was at $30 in January. Gold is now at $15.07, so it's really only gone up $50, where silver has gone up 50%. It was at $30, it's now at $46. We've seen a $16 increase in the price of silver in the first quarter of this year. That means that if you've got 10,000 ounces of silver, do you realize that you made $160,000 already in the first quarter of this year? In fact, on a day like Wednesday, where the market was up $1.20 on the day, if you had 10,000 ounces of silver, you picked up $12,000, and I'm sure there's a few days during the week that you don't make that kind of money. But anyways, I'm very, very pleased. Obviously, when we first recommended silver, it was at $4. You could have bought 10,000 ounces of silver for $40,000. Now it's $460,000. I got to say that again. You could have bought 10,000 ounces of silver 10 years ago for $40,000 when we first started the show. Now it's worth $460,000. Congratulations to all of our Canadian listeners and clients and friends that took our advice. I know that, it was not an easy decision back then, but look how it's working out, so I'm extremely excited. What you're seeing right now, in my opinion, is a couple things. Number one, the market's reacting to a weak U.S. dollar. Because as we're taping the show, what we're looking at right now is that the U.S. dollar just broke 74 cents. So basically, as the U.S. dollar continues to fall, that will push the price of gold and silver substantially higher, and that's one of the major reasons why gold and silver has reached the levels that it's reached thus far, and that's primarily because of the weakness of the U.S. dollar. At one time during the 90s, the U.S. dollar was the strongest currency in the world. Now it's one of the weakest, and will continue to drop because of the tremendous amount of dollars that have been printed and electronically printed in order to deal with the financial situations in the United States. Every indication that I have is that the U.S. dollar will end the year at about 71.50. At 71.50, that, in my opinion, will push the price of gold to about $1,850 to $2,000. So we should get a strong rally in this market going into the last quarter of this year. Now, again, the market's extremely strong right now, and silver has broken the 46-cent level and has done extremely well. We also know that during the summer, things tend to slow down a little bit as a lot of people are on vacation, and the markets trade a little thinner. Then the market takes off again in the fall, like it did actually at the end of the summer last year when silver went from $17 to $30 in 90 days. So that's the type of moves this market is making. At this particular point, the market looks phenomenal. I'm not looking for any massive pullbacks in the market either. It's not like in the past, like in 2008, when silver went from $20 to $9 in a couple weeks. I doubt that we're going to see those type of pullbacks ever again. What I do believe is going to happen is we'll get the normal pullbacks of $4 to $5. So basically, if the market pulls back to around the $40 level during the summertime, it's just a great buying opportunity because we do anticipate that the price of silver will end the year at least $48 to $50. Now, again, that was the price that we predicted at the beginning of the year, and that's when the price of silver was at $30. It's now at $46, and we predicted $48 to $50, so we're almost at our predicted price. Now, again, we'll continue to see the metals rally as the U.S. dollar continues to fall. The other thing is that oil is on the rise. The price of oil has actually skyrocketed, and we're trading right at the $112 level in oil. Oil was one of our biggest recommendations over the past couple of years, and our clients have made a ton of money in the oil market. We would anticipate that the price of oil, because of situations in the Middle East and the uprisings in Saudi Arabia and Yemen and those places, could push the price of oil up to the $150 level, and if things really get bad in Saudi Arabia, we could literally see by next year $250 oil. So now we have to talk about something we've been talking about for a long time now, which is the main reason why you want to own precious metals, gold and silver. It's because of inflation. In 1972, gold was at $35. By 1975, 1976, it was trading at $150 to $200. By 1979-80, by 1980, the market was trading at $850. So gold literally went in 8 years from $35 all the way up to $850, and silver went from $1.25 all the way up to $52. And basically that was primarily the massive run-up in that market was because of inflation. Now, most people would think, and the way that you fight inflation is to raise interest rates. So basically, if they raise interest rates, the feeling is, by Wall Street at least, and I saw an interview on this a couple weeks ago, which made me laugh because, again, these guys really don't have a clue what they're talking about when they're talking about metals. But basically their feeling is that as soon as the interest rates go up, gold and silver will fall, and that is not what I believe is going to happen at all. In actual fact, gold and silver will continue to rally very strong as interest rates are being raised, because we know that the Federal Reserve is not going to raise interest rates enough initially to compensate for what's really happening with inflation. When you've got $120 oil, when you have got food prices doubled from last year, corn, wheat, and soybeans, sugar, coffee, cocoa, all those prices are skyrocketing and will continue to do so, that's inflation. We don't care what they call it in the United States, core inflation or whatever, because at times they don't count energy and food. But let's put it this way. A family making $40,000 a year, husband and wife both working, every penny goes towards paying the mortgage, the cars, the food, putting the kids through school and everything. There's very, very little left over for savings. Then all of a sudden the price of oil goes up and almost doubles in price. Instead of filling your car up and it costing you $40, now it costs you $60, and soon it's going to cost you $80. Then on top of that, to fill your home is going to cost more money, and now that the price of food has gone up so substantially and doubled from last year, well, all of a sudden your food budget goes up. So something's got to suffer. And the fact is that if you're making X amount of dollars and you're stretching that dollars, and now oil and food prices have skyrocketed, that's inflation in its most simplistic form, but that's what we're dealing with. And the fact is that something has to suffer. All of a sudden you don't buy as many clothes, or you don't go to the movies every Saturday, or you don't go out for dinner, and then all of a sudden the economy starts to suffer because their local restaurants don't do well, and the shopping malls don't do well because people aren't driving because they're trying to deal with the extremely high inflationary numbers. The only people that don't believe that we have inflation at this point is the U.S. government and the Federal Reserve. So my feeling is that they're not going to raise interest rates for 2 years. And even if they did raise interest rates slightly, it would not affect our silver and gold positions at all. In actual fact, it would, in my opinion, amplify the positions, because all of a sudden the government and the Federal Reserve would be acknowledging that we have inflation, and that's enough to send the price of gold and silver skyrocketing. That's why I believe we will see triple digits in silver before this whole thing is over, and over the next 4 to 5 years, we do anticipate that not only will silver break 50, not only will it break 100, but it's possible that silver could end this whole thing in the $200 to $250 range, and gold could end the whole thing, at the $4,500 to $5,000 range, because we are definitely going to deal with inflation. There's no way in the world that we're not going to deal with it, and as they start to raise interest rates, I feel that they're going to have to raise interest rates all the way up to 20 to 25% to deal with the extreme inflation and the weakness of the U.S. dollar. And that will be our exit strategy to get out of our gold and silver at that point, is when interest rates get back up to the 20-25% level. And again, just continue to listen to the radio show, because we will keep you informed and updated as to what we believe is going to happen. And again, understand that the reason for this radio show, Randy and I have been doing it for 10 years now. We've never, ever missed a show. We take our business very, very seriously. We want our Canadian clients to do extremely well. 90% of the money is made by 10% of the people. We have to make sure that we're in that 10%, because I can assure you 90% of the people are investing wrong at this particular point. So the fact is that we will continue to see a drop in the U.S. dollar and interest rates stay basically where they are. That means that by the end of this year, we should hit about $1,850 to $2,000 gold, and we could actually break $50 silver very easily and end up the year at $60 to $65. Oil prices, again, are very strong. So, Randy, that's what's happening at this point. Again, China just raised their interest rates because they're acknowledging inflation. They're starting to do the same thing in Europe. Canada is raising interest rates, and again, that will strengthen the Canadian dollar. By the way, the Canadian dollar is trading right now at almost 104, 105. So, again, the purchasing power of the Canadian dollar is getting much, much stronger. I know that the Canadian government does not get overly excited about the Canadian dollar getting strong, but there's really nothing you can do about it. They can interact on a short-term basis, and they can sell Canadian dollars if they want to, but the trend is the trend, and the fact is that the Canadian dollar is one of the best currencies in the world. So, again, at this particular point, we've had a tremendous, tremendous week. A large part of it is short covering, and let me explain that to you. Why silver has gone up 50% in the last couple months is primarily because these banks, like J.P. Morgan, that were shorting the market, means selling it so the price would go down, they're now stuck. They've got these massive short positions in the market. They're losing a fortune. They're short millions and millions and millions of ounces of silver. Let's say, for example, they're short 25 million ounces of silver. On a day like Wednesday, where the market went up $1, they had a $25 million margin call. So now what these people are doing, what these banks are doing, they're finally realizing that they're so upside down on their position, they're getting hammered every single day. They're now buying them back, and that's what's making the market go substantially higher, is buying back these short positions. So again, what we anticipate is that this will continue, because there are still massive positions in the market that have to come out, and that's why it's very possible that we are going to revise our numbers on silver to $60 to $65 this year, and we started off the year at 30. So again, I want to congratulate everybody, all of our listeners who have listened to our show for so many years. Randy and I talk about this every week, how happy we are for all of you. You know, I know that when we first started the show and we made these recommendations, and our first recommendation was to sell your stocks and buy silver and gold, and I know how unpopular of a decision and recommendation that was at that point. The stockbrokers hated our guts. They were threatening Randy, you know, who just started doing the show with me. So, again, it's so wonderful to see how things turned out over the last several years and how well our clients are doing. And many of our clients are sitting very, very heavily in the silver market at this point, which is a very enviable position. So, again, congratulations to all our listeners who had the guts to take our advice and go against their stockbrokers and their financial advisors and do what was best for the family. Again, Randy and I couldn't be happier for you, and the results of all the hard work that we've done over the last 10 years is actually happening right now. So again, congratulations. We have a lot more to go, and I think over the next 5 years, the listeners to this radio show are going to make a tremendous amount of money.
Couldn't agree more, Harold. The telephone number to invest in precious metals, 1-866-623-2002. There's only one company that Harold recommends. That is Worldwide Precious Metals, WWPMC.com, their website, WWPMC.com, the telephone number, 1-866-623-2002. Speak with them about all the different ways there are to be involved in precious metals. They will help you out. Harold touched on inflation. We had the story last week in our newsletter. If you'd like to get our free weekly newsletter, the companion to our radio show, call and talk with Worldwide. They'll send it out to you via email free of charge every week. It's a must-read. You'll see the material that Harold and I are reading and obviously using on the show. Last week, we had the story that, and this was from John Williams of Shadow Stats,